You can't tell me that the team that Florida State has now wasn't the team that played Georgia. Because guess what? Even though you sat all your starters against Georgia, all them guys left. So what
this
you
is the
had,
team.
this is the team.
Yeah.
Because all them starters sat who were going to leave anyways. And so now you have all the people that were left to just have Georgia's just their wrath of not making the college football playoffs. And then they had the biggest college football playoff deficit ever. I'm putting a ticker down below of the scores from week 0 of college football. And yes, it's week 0. This is no typo. This is no typo. It is week 0. And I'm going to give you a little bit of history on what I've come to know about week 0. And it's mostly for that little team that's at the very end of this ticker named Hawaii. Now, Hawaii, because they are not, I guess, with the states, and Alaska's far off too, but they don't play football up there in Alaska. If they do, I'd love to see it. And Hawaii is pretty far off, you know. The amount of travel and the amount of money they spend, they do a lot of it. So based on that, the NCAA has decided, okay, we're going to give Hawaii a home game every week 0. And we're going to let them kind of rule week 0. It's always the last game. Nate, this game played at 11 o'clock Central Time. I had to watch it at 11 o'clock. And it's just Hawaii. It's not like I want to say I didn't watch all of it. I just watched a little bit of it. It was 11 o'clock. But Rob, don't be like that. Don't be petty like that.
But you want to know what's crazy? You want to know what's crazy?
Because there was one game I cared about.
I was checking that game out because a childhood friend, his son named Jemai Otis, plays for University of Hawaii.
Really? Oh, that's why you've been grinning back there. But there is a game we care about, Rob. Don't be petty now. You see that first game on that ticker? The number 10th ranked team in the country, Florida State, versus Georgia Tech, coming in unranked. Georgia Tech had a pretty decent transfer portal. They brought in, now Texas A&M had a quarterback named Haynes King. He was starting with A&M this past season. Before when Kellen Mond left to go to the NFL, they said, Haynes King, we're giving you the keys. Haynes King gets injured. He fractures something. I can't remember what he did. He had an injury, right? 2020 happens. He gets injured. They said, okay, well, 2021's your year, Haynes King. You're going to be the starter. He transfers. After his injury, he transfers. Kind of got that timeline mixed up. Sorry. He transfers, and Texas A&M didn't want to stick with him. So guess where Haynes King goes? He goes to Georgia Tech. And let me tell you something about Mr. Haynes King. He went from the backup quarterback to an SEC school to the man at Georgia Tech because although Florida State got a transfer QB in DJ Uiagalelei. Yes, that's how you pronounce it.
Okay, wait. That's from Clemson, right?
That's from Clemson. Now, Florida State.
Hold on. How many teams
has he played? Just Clemson and Oregon State. It's 13. So now, him and C.J. Stroud actually started the same year in college. Fun fact. Him and C.J. Stroud started the same year. But I remember being at home. My mom's on the couch, and she says, Connor, look at this video. And it's a player from St. John Bosco out in California. Clemson's got the number 1 quarterback in the country recruit that year, and it's DJ Uiagalelei. And I'm thinking, oh, my gosh, this is going to be good. Well, DJ Uiagalelei does not pan out as a 5-star he was. And I was like, okay, well, Florida State, people are saying, although they were the top-ranked ACC team in the country, they're picking up Clemson scraps. And I guarantee you that Clemson and Florida State game, it's going to show. It's going to show just how many scraps Florida State picked up in this offseason. Because look, Rob, if you're still there, Rob, guess what happened during that Georgia game? Florida State had the biggest, and I talked about this last week, Florida State had the biggest deficit in college football, not just postseason history. Now, it was 65-3, if I'm not mistaken. Florida State had this cake, and I explained it to MJ last week. They have this cake, Nate, Well, the first layer's icing. That's your good stuff. That's your good stuff. That's your starters. People like Jared Verse played. People like who was their starting quarterback? Jordan Travis. Oh, thanks, Rob. 63-3. Thanks, Rob. Now, they had this layer of icing where all their good players were starting. They're good players. Here, I'm going to full screen myself so you can see me better. The good players. All this icing they had. Jared Verse, Jordan Travis. And all these guys opted out their bowl game. Some for the NFL, some thought that because they got snubbed from the college football playoffs, they didn't want to play their bowl game. Well, that icing's gone, Nate. The icing's gone. And now what's left is that layer of cake underneath the icing and everything underneath. That team that played Georgia Tech was everything underneath that played against Georgia. Now, when you brought in DJ Uiagalelei, you put in kind of dips of icing on the top, but you don't have a full layer. There's nothing full layer there. So when you go in Ireland and play Georgia Tech, don't tell me Georgia Tech had home field advantage because y'all were in Ireland. Notre Dame should have been playing y'all in Ireland. They come in and Georgia State gets the freaking upset. I was like, I called it. I called it last week. And Florida State, they're frauds. Listen to me. Florida State, you're frauds. You're frauds. Look, you might have been the top-ranked ACC team in the country. You might have been the number 10th ranked team in the country. Y'all are frauds. Y'all got overhyped because y'all went undefeated last year. Then y'all got absolutely trounced by Georgia. And then you're going to come in with the same team y'all had play Georgia, come in, be the number 10th ranked team in the country, and tell me you're going to do something? You lost to Georgia Tech by 3 points in Ireland. Upset. And I love me some college football upsets. Nate, did you watch that game?
I was at work. Rob told me about the game. Rob texted me about the game, and I was just like, "Are you serious?" And Rob texted me like right when the clock went 0. Because I thought he was playing. You know, let me tell you something about Rob. Rob plays a lot. Rob jokes a lot. So I couldn't tell him when he texted me. I was tempted to call him, but he was just like, and when he texted me, he was just like, yeah, they lost. I was like, and I looked, and I was like, oh, they really did lose.
They lost.
So yeah,
that defense looked bad, Nate. You don't have any leaders on it like you had last year. That defense looked badus. Now, granted, Haynes King does not have much. He doesn't have much quarterback experience. There's not much to Haynes King to where you're going to say, okay, well, this dude's going to come in and beat Florida State. I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking Georgia Tech was going to win, but I wasn't thinking Haynes King was going to do what Haynes King did. That offense for Georgia Tech looked good. And I'm going to tell you what, Georgia Tech might be a problem. And Haynes is a good QB. I'm not calling him bad. He wouldn't have gone to Texas A&M. Texas A&M always gets the best recruits. He wouldn't have gone to Texas A&M if he wasn't a good QB. I'm just saying, I didn't expect him with the little bit of experience he had on his plate. He probably played total, 10, probably like 10 games. I think he might have played for Georgia Tech last year, actually. He probably played for Georgia Tech. I can't remember. Anyways, he don't have much experience like he should. Now, DJ Uiagalelei, at the other hand, he had experience, but it didn't really show. After Oregon State, Florida State fans, look, I called my buddy, he's a big Florida State fan, after the game. I said, what happened? What happened? What happened to the 10th ranked team in the country? Why are they losing in Ireland to Georgia Tech? I don't want to talk about it. It's over. I don't want to watch any more football for the rest of the year. It's over. It's over. I done told you that icing was eating off your cake. And y'all really did just prove to me. Now, week 0. We just had 0, Nate. We ain't even at the freaking natural numbers. We had 0. We ain't got to the natural numbers yet. So I'm not saying week 0 is going to determine the whole season for Florida State. I'm just saying Florida State got a little bit too much overhyped, and we saw it. The selection committee got it right. Go back to the college football when we were talking about it before it happened. Go back to what we were talking about it then. The selection committee got it right, and now everybody sees it. Now everybody sees it. So don't be whining, Florida State fans. You got what you deserved. If you was anything, you would have beat Georgia Tech and Ireland. Now, you got anything to say about that? I told you I was going to go off, and I did.
Look. All I know is Florida State dropped the ball. I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm not gonna call them frauds. You know,
I am. I know you might not be able to, but I'm not reffing.
They dropped the ball, and kudos to Georgia Tech.
Now, Florida State is the 17th ranked ACC team in the country. I know I said that earlier, but yes, they are. They are technically 17th because nobody else has a loss but them in ACC. And we saw that SMU, if you look down there, they actually joined the ACC, but they barely handled Nevada. They played 29-24. I was talking to my buddy, and he said that really you have to be admitted into power conferences, right? You have to be told, hey, we're going to bring you in, and we know that as a college, you're going to make money for us. But for SMU, there was a problem. Even though they're in Texas, where freaking football is huge, the ACC didn't look at them and say, we think you're going to bring us enough money to be in the ACC. This is why the ACC has 17 teams. SMU paid in, my buddy told me this, SMU paid in to be in the ACC. So, they were group of 5 last year, and they ended up winning like the AAC championship or whatever the conference they were in last year. And now they want to be in power. They think AAC is too easy. Well, you barely handled Nevada. You won by 5 points. What the heck you gonna do against Florida State? Well, no, not Florida State. Sorry, never mind. Not Florida State. Never mind. You might be Florida State. What you gonna do against Clemson or Notre Dame? They're not in the ACC. What you gonna do against NC State? I'm scared about NC State. I think they're gonna be a problem. Their defense looks dang good, but the ACC is trying to get back on rise. I hope we're not talking about SEC and Big Ten anymore. I hope the SEC just surpasses the Big Ten so much that we're now talking about that second spot being Big Ten or ACC. I hope we're not talking about SEC and Big Ten anymore because honestly, I'm tired of arguing Kenny about it. Because it's like arguing with the brick wall. Like, I'm sitting here like this, arguing with Kenny, and he's just not getting it. He's not getting it. Like, I can tell him, I can pull all the numbers I want and show it to him in his face, and he's still going to go.
He's listening.
Now, is Kenny listening? I hope he is. Yeah, he's still good. And Kenny's he's a knowledgeable guy. He knows his stuff. But he's also emotional like me. And we're going to argue a little bit of emotion. I've watched SEC growing up. But there is no argument, Rob. When you go in and a team from another conference plays your team's second best in the league, and you get beat 63-3, are you listening to me? 63-3, and you're going to tell me that other conferences compete with that? Come on now. What you doing? That's blasphemous. Go back and watch your 1990 Big Ten if you want to reminisce on the Big Ten being the best conference. Go back and watch the tape. But right now, in today's day, it's SEC football, baby. And I had an SEC football shirt. I was wearing it, but it was so hot outside, I soaked through it. The sweat just ran down my back. I couldn't wear it, but it's in my dirty clothes. And if I had it, I'd show it to you. SEC football runs deep. Just like the sweat on my back, it runs deep into my shirt. SEC football runs deep. That's why our motto is, we're consistent. Your Big Ten, you only get 3 teams. Nobody else is good. But I'm done. I got a little too messy, Nate. I apologize. I got a little too messy. So if you'd excuse me.